Good afternoon and welcome to Sports Talk here on Love 101. It is Saturday, May 21, 2022. I'm Daniel Blake. Thank you so much for joining me. By the way, May 21 is Wilma's Day. So for those who don't know, or for those who forgot, today is Wilma's Day. So shout out to all the Wilmarians, Age Quadagis, whether you're in Jamaica, America, Canada, Europe, Asia, America, anywhere you are, happy Wilma's Day. All right. Yeah, I'm a Wilmarian. I never know that. That's why I sort of wore, if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, I sort of wore maroon and gold today. Not in a traditional sense, but it kind of works. So yeah, happy Women's Day. All right. Remember that Sports Talk is brought to you by Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self. There are several ways that you can listen to the show. You can do it in the Love FM app in the Google Play or Apple Store. Download it. You can go in your browser, love101.org, listen there. Or if you want, you can watch me on YouTube and Facebook to see everything that is going on. Good afternoon to everybody. Remember, you can also WhatsApp me throughout the show. I have a brain freeze. I don't know why I forgot the number, but I soon did. But you can also, see it there, 997-3125, 997-3125. I try to remember everything by heart, but then I remember that I'm getting older, so things kind of slip out. So 997-3125. It's the Child Month edition today of Sports Talk. If you have a child that plays sports, or if you want to talk about that, you can message me there, or what you want to see more done for children and youth in sports in Jamaica or just the world in general. So 997-3125. You can also leave the comments in YouTube or Facebook. All right. And by the way, we are going to have two wonderful guests joining us very soon. Andre Virtue, he's the director at Ballers Academy, experienced youth football coach as well. We'll hear his thoughts on how he manages and develops youth and children. And then later on, we'll have Nicole Grant Brown, president of the Jamaica Amateur Gymnastics Association, and she'll talk about essentially the same thing, but in her aspect in gymnastics. All right, so all of that to come. And before we go into my monologue for this week, which is the Danielog, we have the sports bits, which is just a roundup of what happened in the week. Major stories that I think you should know, or maybe you never hear. All right. Trust the laptop. All right. So reigning Olympic sprint hurdles champion Hansel Parchment got the better of 2016 Olympic champion Omar McLeod at the Birmingham Diamond League earlier today. Parchment clocked a world lead 13.09 ahead of McLeod, who had a season's best of 13.17. Five-time Olympic medalist Sherika Jackson with 11.12 seconds had to settle for second in the women's 100 meters, behind hometown star Dina Asher-Smith, 11.11. Johan Blake also finished second in the men's 100 in 10.18, behind Canada's Aaron Brown, 10.13. Other Jamaicans who competed this morning, Olympic finalist Natoya Gould was third in the women's 800 meters, and Olympic bronze medalist Janive Russell finished seventh in the women's 400-meter hurdles. Now, the Jamaica Football Federation will appoint a new coach for the Reggae Girls in the coming days after Vin Blaine resigned from the post after weeks of speculation. The girls were unhappy with Blaine's coaching style, and despite the federation choosing to stick by him, Blaine stepped down earlier this week. Former assistant coach Lauren Donaldson, who was part of the technical staff who guided the team to the 2019 World Cup in France, is said to be the front runner. The Reggae Boys, meanwhile, have named a 25-man squad ahead of their friendly against Catalonia on Wednesday, which sees several overseas and new players called up, including English-born Arsenal youth star Omari Hutchinson. Former Cavalier youth player Kaheem Paris gets a recall, along with Tyreek McGee. 6 local-based players are named in the squad. Now, the champions of the English Premier League will be decided tomorrow. Our leaders, Manchester City, on 90 points, host Aston Villa, while second place Liverpool on 89 points entertain Wolves. A win for City would see them retain their title, but a loss or a draw and a victory for Liverpool would see the Reds winning their second title in the last 3 seasons. In other major story points, Tottenham and Arsenal will battle it out for the final Champions League spot, while Burnley and Leeds will fight to avoid relegation. Now, the Jamaica Scorpions resumed their regional 4-day campaign in style after an innings and 14-run win over the Windward Island Volcanoes on Friday in Trinidad. Jamaica, responding to the Windward's first innings total of 137, were bowled out for 346, with Brandon King making an unbeaten 119. Then Jamie Merchant and Derval Green took 5 wickets each to bowl out the Volcanoes for 195. The Scorpions next play Guyana on Wednesday. And finally, in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors took a 2-0 lead against the Dallas Mavericks on Friday in the best-of-7 Western Conference Finals. In the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat will clash tonight at 7:30 p.m. with their series locked at 1 apiece. Oh, and by the way, since it's Wilma's Day, Wilma's were crowned ISA T20 champions earlier this week at Sabina Park. So congrats to Wilma's there. All right, so it's time for my monologue this week, the Daniel-log.
Hi, this is David Blake.
This is Hope Blake.
I am Ariel Brown Blake.
I'm here to tell you right now.
It's time for the Daniel-log.
The Daniel-log.
The Daniel-log.
I love it.
Presented by no one.
So sorry, that's all. All right, so but this is by no means criticizing my father or anything like that. I'm just gonna tell a story of what happened, and then you can make your judgment on it. So I was a very no, let me not say very. I was a decent kid when it came to track and field. I was pretty fast. I was one of the fastest in my class, right? So in grade 2, I actually made the track team. So I was going to meet at like Kirkvine, at UWI. Did we go to UTech? I think went to whichever prep school meet that was going on, right? Was I winning any races? I can tell you I was always in the top 8. I was always in the top 8, right? So when the prep champs came around in June, I was supposed to run, I think it was it the 60 meter or the 70 meter at the time? I don't remember what exactly it was, but that was going to be my event. Unfortunately, my coach felt that another one of my schoolmates was better to run the event than me. So he pulled me out, but he said that I would run the relay. Fine. So I think it was a 3-day meet at the time, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that was the Thursday. So the Saturday is the relay, and this is Arden, by the way, Arden Prep. We are in, I think, touching distance of winning prep champs, but we needed to win the boys 4x1 relay. So remember, I was told that I was running the relay. So when the time came, my coach said to me, Daniel, I'm actually gonna use expert. I don't remember who he chose, but I remember him choosing somebody else who was running a different event, but he felt that he was best suited. So I did cry, because I said, geez, first ever prep champs, you tell me say I gotta run twice, I'm never run. But anyways, so we ended up losing that race anyways. And the next year, when I'm in grade 3 and ready to start track training, again, my father tells me that I can't go because last year I wasted my time because the coach never picked me, right? And I was sad about that. And it was only until a few years ago that I actually was able to let it go. Because I'm not saying that I had a turn, no. Usain Bolt or a Johan Blake or a sophomore or anything like that. But I will never know, right? I could have continued, I could have furthered my development, and who knows? I could have probably go champs in high school instead of just watching champs at Wolmer's. Who knows? I could have competed, but I will never know. And it's not that I necessarily blame my father, because obviously him see his son training all those months, and then when time come, the coach say him can't run, right? So I honestly can't blame him. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm like, what if? So I say all of that to say, since this is the Child Month edition, that there are a lot of children right now who have dreams of playing sports, whether it is athletics, football, cricket, gymnastics, as we'll hear later down in the show, golf, tennis, swimming, whatever it is. There are children who genuinely want to do it. And your job as a parent, as a guardian, is to support your child as best as possible. Don't tell them that they can't do it. It's best that you let them do it. And if they constantly fail, or I don't even want to use the word fail, but if they don't get the desired result, then you take them into a different direction. But don't let them think that they aren't able to pursue their dreams, right? There was a quote that I saw years ago. I think it was either from, was it Kobe or Wayne Gretzky, somebody like that, who said that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Meaning, if you don't try it, you're not gonna know. So support your children, you know. We hear a lot of adults saying that, yo, I wish me did continue this or continue that, but, you know, they weren't able to. And they were probably very talented, but circumstances didn't allow them to. But if you have a child, a nephew or whatever, support that child's dream if they want to compete in sports. Because that could change their life. And if it don't work out, so it go. At least they can know that, hey, my parents supported my dream of becoming the next best swimmer, the next best footballer, next best cricketer, right? So support your children in sports. Don't just see it as no extracurricular activity. This can actually be a successful career for them. So support the kids. All right, so that was my monologue for this week. We take a break on Sports Talk, and when we come back, we'll be speaking with Andre Virtue.
Keep fully connected with Flow Fiber Fast Internet at home and on the road with LTE data and calls for a fast, reliable experience anywhere. Over 500 communities have been upgraded since 2020, making more of Jamaica Flow Fiber Fast. And with Yard and Road, get Flow Fiber Faster Yard and LTE Road for as low as $3,999 plus GCT. Visit discoverflow.co to get connected on Jamaica's largest network. Conditions apply.
Enough respect, civil servants and healthcare workers. We appreciate you. So it's on us. Gas, shopping, dinner, entertainment, it's on us. For the month of May, spend just $1,000 before GCT at any H&L Rapid True Value or H&L Agro Store island-wide, or shop online at hardribbonlumber.com and you could win one of these 60 prizes from gas vouchers, dinner at District 5, Reggae Sumfest tickets, and more. See details online. Enough respect, civil servants. It's on us. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Something sweet is coming. Something worth the wait. Something that's gonna be great. something that can only keep one time of the year. I just absolutely, specifically, wonderfully, automatically, Sunshine Ali love summer. Woohoo! Look out! Here we come! I love summer!
This is a special announcement from Love 101 and Love Television. Our general offices will be closed to the public on Labor Day, Monday, May 23, 2022, and will reopen on Tuesday, May 24, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Programs and commercials for the period Saturday, May 21 through to Tuesday, May 24, 2022 should be submitted by 9 a.m. on Friday, May 20, 2022, and obituaries and notices by 10 a.m. on the same day to ensure scheduling for broadcast. Love 101 and Love Television wish for you and yours a peaceful Labor Day.
Welcome back to Sports Talk here on Love 101, the family station. It is the Child Month edition. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now I am going to be joined by experienced youth football coach and director of Ballers Academy, Andre Virtue. Andre, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Daniel, thanks for having me. Good afternoon to your listeners.
All right. So before I go into what I really want to talk about, I remember years ago, I was a participant at something that I believed you were part of the organizing committee. It was Kids Games, which was basically a sports day, but it had a lot of unconventional type of sports and games. And I remember to this day, it is the most fun I've had in my life. I remember my brother and I were talking about it the other day as well. And I remember it was just a huge thing. How did that come about, if you can remember? And why haven't we seen something like that since in the local sphere, especially with a lot of kids wanting to try a lot of new things?
Hey, Daniel, that is from my involvement in sports ministry. Sports ministry really is connected directly to the local churches, using sport and community engagements as an opportunity to support and to really engage the youth in the communities. Because it's not traditional football and cricket and come up with other games, it means that it makes everyone be able to participate and almost put everyone on the same level. An objective there is really about fun and about enjoyment and teaching life skills and do it experientially. So it continues to be done. To be honest with you, I think the challenges the pandemic has impacted, but things like this is where we're asking the local churches to get more involved. We're doing a lot of training of church workers, and we're doing some stuff in the region as well to try and ensure that we're able to do more of these activities.
Yeah, so we know that your main passion is football, mostly at the grassroots level, though, because I don't recall you coaching any senior team since you returned to Jamaica. I think it was 2002 or 3. So what made you go in that direction? Because being a former child myself, I know that teaching children and youth are a lot harder than the seniors.
Yeah, I haven't gotten so much out of sport and more specifically football when I was choosing to come back home. It wasn't really my overall decision. I believe it was something that God has called me to. I believe it is an area in which I believe there are a lot of people who deal with adults and at the elite level, but there were not a lot of people who were focused at what I would call the grassroots or the fundamentals. The foundation area. And I feel if I'm going to come back to Jamaica, obviously making a big decision like that, it has to be something that is of value, of something that of importance. And I believe I'd have been able to give the greatest contribution to my country.
So what led you to starting Ballers Academy? Why not just be a youth coach at maybe a prep or a primary school or even a high school? Why take up that massive responsibility in having your own academy?
Well, I think a lot of also my own experiences, failed experiences, challenges, my own challenges, um, the successes I had as well. I look back and I said, this is an area that I really believe would be. So though I went to Peter and Paul Prep School, though I went to Jamaica College, in of itself as an institution, they continue to do what they're doing. But I believe that there needed to be a model, there needed to be an example. The values that I uphold are also very important to me. So these are values that I think has to be very deliberate and intentional in this an approach, and when we're delivering sports or coaching to youngsters. And so for me, it was, I believe God continued to work through my life and showed me, although that my dream was to be a professional football player and I've traveled the world, God gave me back football in a whole different way. And I think I have to be obedient to that more so than what is nice or what is comfortable or what is popular. I believe I had to be more obedient. And so that's my calling. And I believe that's why I'm focused on this age group and giving back in this way.
Yeah, your academy was one of the only ones in Jamaica at the time, and I think now in 2022 we have so many academies right now. Mount Pleasant, Genesis, Phoenix, so many other academies going on. Are you happy to see that we are having more of these institutions for our young players?
Well, I, and by extension, my team, we can't coach everybody. And the reality of it is, you're going to need other experts, other professionals, other people to play their part. And so, seeing more pop up is good. Seeing more persons committed to youth is also a great thing. I think it's just for us to recognize what our expectations are. Why is it that we're getting? What our motives are? There are different formats and different ways to approach the academy. Some are elite, some are trying to get youths to college, some want to get them to pro. Some is just a competitive nature. Sometimes it's a lack of something structured outside, whether it's through the JFF or through the school system or the club system. People are moved towards doing something on their own. So there are a number of reasons why people come into the space, but on the pure desire to see more kids being coached, to see more coaches improving on their approach to coaching youth and giving opportunities for youngsters to get exposure. On those basis, I'm happy to say that there are more people, there are more kids being able to access the sport.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, dealing with children in general is not an easy task, and youth in general. What are some of your main challenges at Ballers or dealing with coaching and managing youth in football?
Yeah, I mean, I think I speak not just for ballers. I mean, anybody in this space probably faces the same challenges. One, access to, um, you know, good, good, safe environments. How do you fund such work? Getting the right people involved. These are your coaches, the type of coaching education that needs to happen. Administrators that are administration that is involved in putting projects and running programs like myself, and having the reality that most of our kids want to be able to be in environments like this, but they don't have the resources to do so. So I'm constantly charged, myself and the team, to how we find resources to be able to make sure that they're doing it. And then I think the main thing, the main thing is that it's not just about sports, and it is obviously the draw. But when you look at a child before you, it's his or her life before you, and have personal family issues, have financial, have so many other factors that are could be potential hindrances from them being involved in activities. So for us, it's recognizing that there's a life before us, and the words that we choose and the environment that we create is really going to make or break that individual from continuing to participate. And I mean, in your introduction, you shared your own personal experience, and there are thousands of persons who get that opportunity, and as a result of either a coach or lack of the right coaching environment, they would have either stopped or had a bad experience in it. And sports is so powerful a medium that that's my motivation. That's why we keep doing what we're doing.
Speaking of that, how do you determine essentially who works with the children and youth at Ballers? Because from my experience watching local football over the years at the high school, primary school, and prep school level, some coaches aren't cut out to coach children by the way they interact with them, the way that they conduct training, just that type of thing. So how do you ensure that the youth, they are able to get into the right hands, essentially?
Yeah, I mean that's a brilliant. I mean, and I don't think the answer is a 1, 2, 3. The reality of it is that we are growing. Whereas I started out with this passion myself, and I know I deliver it to grow and to ensure there are others. I had to reach out to other persons to get involved. Some of our coaches are former players, teammates of mine. Some of them have a passionate with development, but not necessarily knowing how to execute. So creating an environment where they are put through coaching. Put through different sessions for them to understand, for them to get expertise, advice, and help from not persons just locally, but internationally as well, so that we continue to improve, we continue to grow, we continue to find the tools and the mechanisms and the areas by which we can be able to improve as coaches. That's constantly a work that I know from I realize that this can't be a one-man show and he needed others involved, is to really engage persons and invite them. I say, would you love to impact a life? Would you love to make a difference? And if so, come and shadow me, come and be around me. And in that process, it's mentoring, it's life on life. It's acknowledging that nobody is perfect, acknowledging that we all are on our journey together, and us being able to try and keep building on that we're better than we were yesterday, and that we're better than we were last year, and we keep pushing. So I know I speak on behalf of a lot of mentors and coaches who don't have it all together, don't have it all perfect, but at the core of who we are is the desire to want to make a difference and to put the mechanisms by training and resources to help the coaches to become better each and every day.
Yeah. I know that Ballers at Priory, you have an artificial surface there. Not a full-sized pitch, but things that we've seen over the years. I think Duns and Football Factory and several other people have started these artificial surfaces for, as we Jamaicans would say, like a scrimmage type of thing.
Right.
I know that the JFF has the full length one at UE, but why do you think that we possibly haven't invested in more good surfaces for our youth to play on, knowing that the rest of the world essentially is far ahead of us in that sense?
Daniel, I think it is the will to do it, regardless of what would have seemed like mountains and hurdles to climb to get there. Nothing great that anyone wants to achieve is going to come easy, and obviously there's a huge capital outlay that is prohibitive if you look at it from that angle. But when you're thinking about investment, when you're thinking about development, there are some things that you have to look way beyond just the money side of stuff. Yeah. To be able to do what we did 8 years ago was unheard of. It don't make no sense. It can't be done. But we dispel that. We dispel that just with a desire to want to make a difference, a desire to bring people around who sees a bigger vision, desire to really ensure that you're not just coming with your hands empty, but you're coming with something already and say, look, can you assist? We found that that's what allowed for us to do it. And it is really my appeal, taking this opportunity to appeal to the government, appeal to companies that, it is an investment that cannot be wasted. It's an investment that will bring back years and years of benefits to development. And we've seen it with our own football players, the ability to expose them to something different. That the only way that they're going to see this is if they fly out of Jamaica, and we don't have the resources to fly everyone out, right? So if you bring them into a space that is next level, you bring into a space that is comparable to what is being seen at another level, then what you find, you start inspiring that child to believe that I too have value, and I too believe that I can give more. And so the training environments are increased, and those are the things. So it's an appeal to to us to really push a little bit more and find a way. It has to be collaborative. It has to be partnered in nature. I have to kind of let go our own individual egos and stuff to try and find a way to make sure that we don't get left behind further than we already are. And it's not because we can't do it. We have done it. So why has Duns been able to do it? Factory, Ballers, and even the JFF, they found a way to make it happen. And there's no reason why other organizations, other clubs, if the focus is on development and infrastructure development as well, if that is our focus, I think we can make it happen.
Yeah, key area in development as well, I think also comes from the parents and guardians. During your time in your position, have you had issues with parents who send their children there, or is it more of a collaborative process where parents give input, or you tell them you want them to do this and that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a community, right? And the reality of it is that parents are so important to the process. And so we constantly try and involve the parents and get them involved as best as we can. We try and also educate the parents on certain things. So there are things like, the whole competition and winning at all costs, and it's my child, so everybody kind of wants the best for their child, but they're part of a team. And so there are teachable moments throughout that. There are moments where the players are not selected. There are moments where the players are injured. There are moments when the players are struggling at home or at school. And so it's an opportunity for us now to be able to take that situation and have a discussion with the parents. So we encourage parents to discuss and talk to us. What are the concerns that you're having at home? What are the challenges that you're having? We've always said that do not let money be the reason to stop your child. And I believe that if money is a reason to stop, I should stop doing what I'm doing, So we create that environment, and as a result of it, you find that the parents are willing to do more than just parent their own children. They parent other children as well. They're always looking out to reach and help others who might be in a different scenario or situation than their own children, or maybe sometimes even they're in a bad situation, but just the principle of giving, the principle of giving back, the principle of helping another one is really something that we create. And we say that we're a family. We say that we're trying to create winners on and off the field. And the only way that can happen is if you realize that we spend more time off the field and on the field. And so if we're not deliberate with the parents, if we're not deliberate with the community, which includes school and teachers, then we're going to miss a boat, because that the life of that child is involved in all of those areas. So if the teacher and the coach is not on the same page, if the parent and the coach are not on the same page, you're going to have diminishing returns, and you're going to have some gaps in that development, which, at the end of the day, we're going to run up and down trying to fix it, and it's going to be too late. So the earlier we start that, the better it is.
Yeah. At Ballers, I think years ago you had Our Sons initiative, which was essentially mentoring the young boys and young men at the time to sort of help them with their, improving their life and how they see things. I know that you had a Father's Day initiative a couple years ago as well. So even throughout this interview, you talk a lot about, the off the field aspects. How important is it for just youth coaches, not just necessarily in football, but in all sports, to really hone in on that off the field aspect?
It is more critical than anything else. For those persons who probably would have known my background and been involved in football, it kind of would have seemed that I'm not speaking so much about the football, but I'm more important. And the reason why there's such a passion in me around it is because when you go to that next level, whether it's collegiate, whether it's pro, it's not the football issues that cause us not to translate and to move on. It's not football. We're talented, but it's other things. It's what I call the intangibles. It's what I call the heart issues that everybody has. And when you ask a coach, why is this player struggling? It's not a football problem. It's a heart problem. It's a character problem. And therefore, this is why it's so important that as coaches, we don't just see this as just winning games and winning trophies. I mean, I say this all the time with my players that I can't take my trophy that I won or the medal or the MVP or the goal that I scored to pay my light bill, to pay my mortgage, or to pay my bills. And the reality of it is there's a life before the game, there's a life during the game, and there's a life after the game. So unless we are very intentional and deliberate about molding character, it's not just going to happen by happen chance. It's some things that we have to do. So the fact that we are coaches who have enormous responsibility and who have so much hours with these kids, we can delegate that responsibility to somebody else. So whether it's 2 hours a day for 5 days, that's 10 hours. We are able to impart, we're able to speak life over these kids and for them to believe. When you say to a young kid, I love you and I believe in you, in our Jamaican culture, I don't want to talk about a love thing, but then you have to be a man and stand up into that space and say nothing is wrong with it. There's nothing wrong for you to hear this consistently and for you to believe that there's opportunities for you and to believe that you too can make it out of your community. Nothing good can come from Trenchtown, but you can break that myth, the great Bob Marley, and nothing good can come from Walthouse. You can break that because there's Shelley and Fraser Price. So, it is us creating those environments to allow for a person to believe that they too, regardless of circumstance or environment, that they too can make it out. And as a coach, that is really why I'm passionate about it. And I implore our other coaches and mentors to ensure that, they don't see this as just something that's just a pastime, but something to really invest their time in.
Yeah. If there is someone out there watching or listening who has in their minds a talented boy or girl, because we haven't really, focused on the girls, even though there has been an increase in participation in girls football and women's football locally. If they are listening out there, how do they join your academy if you have enough space open? Because I know that not everybody want people in their academy. So if they have that opportunity, how do they go about doing so?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're constantly growing and opening opportunities. So for us, you can contact us by phone at 260-2255. You can check us out on our Instagram pages at Go Ballers. So that's at GOBALLAZ. And you can email us at info@goballers.com. info@goballaz.com. So those are our first connecting points. But outside of that, it's word of mouth. It's parents sharing with other parents who then, and that's kind of how we've continued to grow over the years.
And 27 is too old, right?
No, 27 is not too old because there's a part that you can play. There's a part that others can play, So, from a playing, you mentioned it before, but, I'll have a Me and My Baller Day where we ask the parents to come and participate with the kids. And we need mentors. We need persons who can come and, share their own experiences. My experience is not going to be the experience for someone else. And so when you have other persons, this is the entire cycle coming around where we have kids who have graduated or are about to graduate and are working in corporate now and coming back and giving back in that way. So there's always a space, Daniel, to come and play your part, whether that is just to take interest in one boy or girl, to speak to them, to kind of support them, whether it's financially or otherwise. So I would say it's never too old, and there's always a space, there's always opportunity to give and to serve. And we really want to get an opportunity where we're serving each other into our greatness. And whether that be the coaches, whether that be players themselves, there's an opportunity for everybody.
Yeah. I probably definitely should get involved. Andre, thank you so much for talking to me today, for giving us all that great insight, and continue doing what you're doing. I know personally you've impacted so many lives, and just keep on doing it, and wish you all the best and success going forward.
Hey, Daniel, thanks for the opportunity to share, and really looking forward for more opportunities like this, so other people can get involved. So I'm looking out for you, Daniel. I expect to see you soon.
Yeah, for sure. All right, enjoy your weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, so that is Andre Virtue, director at Ballers Academy and experienced youth coach, just talking about managing and developing children in football and just in sports in general. All right, so we are going into a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by President of the Jamaica Amateur Gymnastics Association, Nicole Grant Brown. So stay with us.
Keep fully connected with Flow Fiber Fast Internet at home and on the road with LTE data and calls for a fast, reliable experience anywhere. Over 500 communities have been upgraded since 2020, making more of Jamaica Flow Fiber Fast. And with Yard and Road, get Flow Fiber Faster Yard and LTE Road for as low as $3,999 plus GCT. Visit discoverflow.co to get connected on Jamaica's largest network. Conditions apply.
I'm advice I don't know a lot of shot and tally. I have a message to everyone. Get vaccinated. Hey, tourism the main driver of the local economy. It provides us with job, to help the country. So everybody in the industry, get the job and come follow me. It don't hurt to the dirt. Link the nurse cause the vaccine work. Get vaccinated. Yeah. This is a message from the Ministry of Tourism. Get vaccinated. Just get vaccinated. You're deaf?
The Ministry of Health and Wellness invites members of the public to attend a vaccination site Saturday, May 21, Sunday, May 22, to receive their first, second, or booster dose of the AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Sinopharm, or Johnson & Johnson vaccine for persons 18 years and older. Jamaicans 12 years and older will also be offered the first or second dose of the Pfizer vaccine. Here are the sites for Saturday, May 21. St. Thomas, Morant Bay Health Center, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Kingston and St. Andrew, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. St. Joseph's Hospital, Dehaney Park Health Center, Fontana Pharmacy, Barbican and Waterloo, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Health Plus Associates, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Bethel Baptist Church, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Erudite Medical Center, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. MedStop Medical, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. In St. Catherine, Greater Portmore Health Center, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Online Medics, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. In St. James, Montego Bay Comprehensive Health Center, Type 5, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Here are the sites for Sunday, May 22. St. Catherine, Online Medics, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Kingston and St. Andrew, Sunrise Health Center, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Winchester Medical and Surgical, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Health Plus Associates, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Persons should take their vaccination card, a government-issued ID, or letter from a justice of the peace to the sites. Let's get vaccinated and get back to life.
I'm advice I don't know a lot of shot and tally. I have a message to everyone. Get vaccinated. Hey, tourism the main driver of the local economy. It provides us with job, to help the country. So everybody in the industry, get the job and come follow me. It don't hurt to the dirt. Link the nurse cause the vaccine work. Get vaccinated. Yeah. This is a message from the Ministry of Tourism. Get vaccinated. Just get vaccinated. You're deaf?
Giselle. Connect with Brata. Theater Kia. Enjoy all your favorite apps and more on Jamaica's fastest network. Activate the Prime Brata bundle for as low as $175 by dialing *147 number sign from your Digicel phone or in the My Digicel app. Connect! Alright, connect with Brata. Digicel Prime Brata. Theater Kia. Done.
It is 1:45 here in Jamaica. It is Sports Talk right here on Love 101, the family station. Thank you so much for staying with us. It is the Child Month edition. It's Labor Day weekend. It's Woolmer's Day. So big up to all the Wilmerians, especially my father, the biggest Wilmerian I know, and my biggest supporter for sure. All right, so earlier we spoke with Andre Virtue, director at Ballers Academy, and now we are going to speak to the president of the Jamaica Amateur Gymnastics Association, Nicole Grant Brown. Mr. Grant Brown, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Not a problem. So, before I get into the main thing, I know that over the last two Olympics, we've had Tony and Williams and Danusha Francis competing for us for the very first time in the sport. How much has the sport grown in your eyes over the last 6 years? Have you been able to see any tangible change from that 2016 to now?
You know, that's a question I should be asking you because growth can be seen from the outside. I can tell you anything from the inside. But what have you been seeing happening in gymnastics? I'm sure you're seeing that we have been having a number of events. In fact, we just had a competition last weekend. The pandemic has really dampened things, but the interest has really grown and it's very encouraging. We are amazed at the number of children who are coming out and the number of schools who are asking to join the program, the schools program, which is an introductory program for ages 2 and up. So I think it's not just the Olympic being a part of the Olympic, which yes, it gives us visibility, but also the work that the coaches have been doing on the ground, going into the schools, doing demonstrations, introducing the sports to several primary prep, kinder schools in the corporate area as well as in parishes such as Westmoreland, Montego Bay, St. Catherine, Ocherius. We have really been spreading our wings.
Yeah. I know that even though you're the president, you do a lot of coaching yourself and you oversee a lot of the kids and youth. How difficult is it, and what would you say are your main challenges in dealing with them?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question because transitioning to coaching gymnastics is very difficult. As president, you get to actually see the end results of how well the kids do at competitions, and you go to various competitions such as Commonwealth, Pan Am Championships, Olympics, and you see the end results. But now that I'm actually coaching in the gym, teaching these youngsters from scratch, you really see the amount of work. You really see the amount of work that has to go into preparing these athletes to get to that level. And it's very, very challenging because they have to work very hard. They actually train 4 to 5 hours a day, at least 5 days a week. Their conditioning training is about an hour and a half each day. And it's really rough on them, but they are pushing and they really want to get to the top. So they're working very hard for that. So it's very challenging, but we're all up to the challenge.
Yeah, I know when you got your second mandate, one of the things you said you wanted to improve was the relationship with the parents and club relations. How has that been? And is it harder to know, dealing with parents who may want their child to be coached in a specific way, or they don't want them to be training this long, or those type of things? Have you encountered those type of issues?
Well, with the sport of gymnastics, it's very unique. So parents are very, very they are very supportive of their kids.
Mm.
And they're also outspoken. So if there's something that they're seeing that they don't really like or they don't really appreciate, they will quickly let you know. And coaches are always open to that. The relationship with parents have really improved a lot because we have a director who deals with that specifically. With a sport like gymnastics that is so hard and expensive, you have to definitely be able to motivate parents, because the children, yes, will want to be in the sport, but it's the parents who are paying. So it's something that it's a task to make sure that you're satisfying not just the child but also the parents. And we're seeing where parents are trying to get more involved in not just taking the child to gym, but also to help in fundraising ventures in order to get the kids the exposures that they really need in order to excel.
Yeah, I know over the next few days or weeks, you'll be having some overseas coaches come down and coach the kids. How important is it for that overseas help to come? Because I would assume that our local coaches aren't as versed, not that they're bad at what they do, but they aren't as versed as those overseas. So how important is it to do that, not just in gymnastics, but in sports in general?
Well, first, I must dispel one little thing that I think Jamaicans have this thing about overseas, thinking that overseas is always better than what we have here. It's not necessarily so. With respect to the overseas coaches, it's always important to get different perspective in teaching. It's not only in gymnastics, but since I am more familiar with the sport of gymnastics, I can speak to it. You'll find that as coaches learn as they go, just as the child learn as they go to different levels, to higher levels. With our local coaches, we do have the certification that is necessary to work with our kids. And there are several clubs in Jamaica that have very competent coaches. Nishida's Gymnastics is one of them, as well as Jamaica School of Gymnastics. As a CEO for Jamaica School of Gymnastics, we always strive to improve on our coaches no matter what, because there's always room to learn. And as a result, the parents decided that they wanted to help in terms of improving on the coach's abilities as well as the gymnast abilities to succeed to the next level. And as such, they decided to bring in an Italian coach to the Jamaica School of Gymnastics, as well as a US coach who will then help in terms of the higher level skills that is needed, because the kids at that club, they are doing so well and they are improving so fast. They're improving faster than the coaches are able to teach them, because there are high level skills such as the release skills on the bars. There are certain floor skills, aqua skills that you definitely need to have the hands-on experience where that is concerned. They have the certification in doing that, but as it relates to getting that hands-on training, we here in Jamaica don't really have kids at that level, at the level that they're learning those levels of skill. So it's important for us to bring in coaches who can actually help to teach us. And as the coaches learn, they will, help the kids to also improve as well. So we're developing the coaches. Come in another 5 years, we should be competent to take our kids to the level, to an Olympic level per se. And in order to do that, we have to consistently have new minds coming in to give us new ideas, because children learn in different ways, and there may be skills that I am able to teach a child and another coach is not able to teach that child, because that child may relate differently to coaches. So we are trying to ensure that we give our kids the ability to learn from different perspectives and easier way of learning difficult skills.
Yeah. I know this has been something that's it, has been unfortunate for the sport over the last few years. In America, China, and most recently Canada, I believe there have been allegations of all forms of abuse. What measures have you put in place to ensure that our young athletes don't face the same fate as we see in other parts of the world?
Well, we definitely have a policy where we have communication. We communicate a lot with our coaches because we have a director who is in charge of coaching relationship. Various they do various workshops to that they basically know exactly what to do when it comes on to certain things, but sometimes it's not done. So we have watchdogs that deals with that aspect. We also try to um ensure that the children are have an outlet to speak in case there's something that is happening to them and they
Mhm.
can't really speak to their parents. So we do have an outlet for that. We try to ensure that the policy of the gym, no one coach can be with a child at any time. It has to be two coaches or more, and the children are not allowed to be with a male coach by themselves, or even a female coach by themselves when they're coaching. Someone else have to always be in the gym with them. So those are some of the measures that we put in place for that.
All right. We have less than 2 minutes, but I know that Supreme Ventures came on board recently. But like most associations, there has been a financial struggle. What more would you want the government and corporate Jamaica do to help in the development of your young gymnasts?
Well, first, we want to really thank the Jamaica Olympic Association that actually partnered us up with not only Supreme Ventures, but also Mayberry, who both have been come on board between last year and this year to really help to develop our sport through competitions. And it has been a tremendous experience because prior to that, we had to be doing it on our own. And with their help, we were able to bring in more high level experts who actually gave us workshops and teach us certain things as it relates to judging of our youngsters and ideas of how to put routines and compose routines together to make it effective. So their input has really helped us to propel our local gymnastics a lot better. We also want to thank the Ministry of Sports as well because they are very supportive of the sport and they're always there to help us along the way. They too also help us with finance when at times, but as you know, it's not as much as we would have wanted. But we are very with their monthly subvention also help us along. But I mean, there's always room for more funding, especially when the kids have to travel overseas. And traveling overseas is important for them to gain that level of exposure and the kind of competition that they really need in order to excel. So that's where our main problem is, gaining that funding that will help to take our kids to competitions overseas.
Well, we hope that you do get that funding. Miss Grant Brown, thank you so much for joining me. Continue doing the work that you're doing with our youth, and we wish you all the best in the future.
And thank you so very much for having me.
All
And
right.
thank your listeners.
Yes, have a great weekend. That was the president of the Jamaica Amateur Gymnastics Association, Nicole Grant Brown. That is it for the Child Month edition of Sports Talk. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in today. Remember, Sports Talk was brought to you by Jamaica Customs Agency, Country Above Self. Please be safe this weekend. It is Labor Day weekend. We know the case them arise here locally in Jamaica, and even if you're overseas, so continue to protect yourself in the best way possible. And also enjoy Wilma's Day today. Age God, Agis. Thank you again to everyone, and I'll see you again next week.